Internet, hello again. Honestly, I'd almost given up on this. I'd almost given up on having a channel, on making any kind of series of videos, mainly because the first idea I had was to do beginner's archery from a beginner's perspective. My biggest thing there was I found myself referring to other people's videos. And that kind of got me thinking, well, if I'm just going to refer to other people's videos, what's the point of me doing that? I could do that online without having to put time and effort into editing. So at that point in time, I'm like, well, I'm out of ideas. And then honestly, it dawned on me, no, I'm not. Where it was in the beginning was my experiences in archery. What I wanted to share was not necessarily new information, but a new experience, a new perspective, a new point of view that, maybe similar, maybe different. It's me. And because everyone's different, it's, again, not necessarily new information, just a new perspective. So I feel like I can offer that at the very least. I was sincere in my first video when I wanted to know if I was wrong, but when I watched it again, I honestly felt a little preachy. And that's wrong because I'm a beginner. I have nothing to preach about. I was tempted to take it down, but the main reason I'm not going to, and the main reason I didn't, is it's still an experience that I had. It's still a thought process I had, even if it was, by the way, wrong. I know that now. It shows growth. It shows the way I progressed, and it's my experiences. And I have no problem sharing my experiences and hoping other people will benefit from my experiences. So, gonna leave that video up, and I want to take the opportunity in this video, before I start getting into some other experiences I've had, is just a quick rundown of my equipment that I have. You can see some of it there behind me, what I have bought, what I use, and what I don't use, and why I no longer use it. To start off, we're going to go with this. This is the finger tab I purchased that I talked about in my first video from the local archery shop. This is the Cavalier Elite super leather size medium, and this is the way it comes. It comes with this style finger spacer, comes with the ledge, and then the strap for attaching it. And again, this is the medium size. The main reason I don't use it is it's actually considerably too small for my hand. As you can see, there's a lot of exposed skin here and here, and after just one session of using it, there was a lot of actually burning in this area and this area, a lot of very raw skin abrasions. So I actually had to take about a week off shooting to let that heal, and so yeah, no longer use that. Not because it's a bad tab, but because it's a small tab for my hand size. Next, we have this arm guard that actually came as part of a kit I bought with my bow, which I'll talk about here in a minute. Decent little arm guard. It's not one of the most expensive ones out there. It's pretty flimsy, but it's nice and thick, and it's a foam, so that it feels good. It breathes good, and I used this for almost 2.5 months. My biggest thing is I have a pretty big arm. I'm not sure if it's bigger than average. I'm not sure what average is, but in my experience, I have pretty big everything. Not just because I am a bigger person, but because I'm a bigger guy. I have a different bone structure than a lot of people. My doctors have told me I have thicker bones, and that is not a euphemism. I actually do have thicker bones. I realize I have excess other things as well, to be nice to myself. That might set a lot of people off. You don't have to change yourself just to play a sport. That's not the reason I'm changing myself. Health concerns, so don't go off on me on that. I'm not changing myself to fit into an image. I'm changing myself because if I don't, yeah. So that was that. It was a good thing. It came with the kit, so I didn't really have a choice in size. I didn't really have a choice in style. I ended up stopping using this very recently, and I'll show you what I replaced it with. This thing. I have thoroughly enjoyed. I've only used it about 4 times now. This, much bigger. The leather is a little bit thin, but I like the look. I like the style. I like the size. Especially for my arm, I love this thing. I don't know a brand because I got it from someone that was selling it used. So I don't have a brand for you, unfortunately, and I don't have a brand on the other arm guard or style because, again, it came with a kit. I wish I knew brand on this. I wish I knew where to refer people to get something like this if you're interested, because I have thoroughly enjoyed this. It's solid leather construction as opposed to fabric and foam, so it doesn't breathe that well, but that's okay with me. This is a hunting glove that came with my kit. The thing that impressed me the most was it fits, and I liked that about it. But in the beginning, when I was using it, as I said in my other video, I had a lot of problems with arrow pinch, and I thought it was an equipment problem. I thought the leather was too thin. I thought that, how could I possibly be wrong? Again, like I said, I felt a little preachy in the last video. So this is what came with my kit. And so I was using it for a while. You can see that it was, what I first used. And then I switched over to this. This is a TrueFire dual caliber mechanical release. I really enjoyed shooting this. I think I might miss it, but in the long run, I think I'm going to be okay with that. The reason I might miss it is I like the simplicity of it. You just attach it, pull back, let loose. You can get this at Dick's Sporting Goods. I received this as a Christmas gift, which was another main reason I was using it for so long, and kind of forced myself to use it. It's a gift. You don't look a gift horse in the mouth in my family. I ended up ditching this and went back to this, because the main reason I've gone back to this is I've actually, instead of trying to force myself into split fingers because everyone says split fingers better, I'm actually using 3-under in this, so eliminating the arrow pinch problem that I had. I've been enjoying it thoroughly. Really have been. It's been a lot of fun. Again, experience video, I'll talk more about the experience I had with it, but this thing, really awesome. And this is another thing that came with my bow package. So again, unfortunately, I don't have a brand for you. I don't know anything about it other than the fact that it's a 3-finger glove. Next, this thing. This thing was, honestly, in the back of my mind for a while now, I've always thought I'm going into target archery. So I should get things that will help me get used to target recurve archery, or Olympic recurve archery. So I'm like, okay, better get used to using a sight. Let me tell you, don't buy a sight without knowing your bow. One thing I didn't know about my bow, which I'll talk about in a minute, is it's a short riser. It's not really set up to use big, bulky scopes like this. This was $20 at Dick's Sporting Goods. This is something I did buy. This is a Trophy Ridge mist sight, just a basic 3-pin hunting sight. And the Samick Sage is not really set up to use big, bulky sights like this because of its sight window. I've actually really enjoyed shooting traditional, and so I ditched this for that main reason, is because I'm not using it. And while technically it's, well, let's just talk about my bow. But yeah, this is something that I did buy, no longer using. Not because it's bad, but because it's just not what I'm going for right now. This is the big kahuna. This is my bow. This is a 62-inch Samick Sage takedown, and the only real modifications I've made to this is I'm using brass knocking points. Leave me alone. As you can see, I do have a short rubber stabilizer on it. This is actually a Trophy Ridge dart. there's practically no weight to it. It's not really that kind of a stabilizer. I've kept it though. And the main reason I've kept it, since that's the purpose of this video, is it absorbs vibration very well because it's almost completely made of rubber. And then the other modification I made to it is I use a bare weather rest because the arrows I use, which I'll talk about in a minute, are veined, not feathered. The limbs are, I actually use 30-pound limbs, and I know I'm going to get a lot of flack from the machos out there. Oh, you're a big, strong guy. You can handle 45 pounds or 50 pounds. Yeah, probably could. Don't care. Pretty much all the research I did pointed to you don't know what you can handle when it comes to a bow. It's not bench pressing. It's not lifting boxes, which, by the way, I can bench press 220 pounds. I'm fairly strong. That means nothing when it comes to archery. Your arms are not what you are using to pull the bow back. You're using this arm to hold it out in front of you. Whoop-de-doo. Seriously. This is like 3 pounds, I think? Yeah. Not impressive. I don't care that I'm only using a 30-pound bow. I don't care if I'm called a girl or a kid. I am glad I started small, and I think other people would agree with me that know anything about archery. There is nothing wrong with starting small. Nothing at all. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. And honestly, it's really what I like about the semi-sage is the fact that it does have limbs all the way up to, I think, 65 pounds. I may be wrong on that. Maybe even more. I don't know. But this is a really good bow to learn on because the riser itself will last you. And then you can start with low poundage limbs. And if you outgrow them quickly, you just get new limbs. You don't have to get a whole new bow. It's better to learn and experiment with poundages on an inexpensive bow as opposed to, when your limbs alone are $1,000. Probably want to get only one set of those. Wanted to just address one final note about my bow that, because I said I would earlier in the video, was when I was talking about the sight picture, is that area right in there. The main reason why I don't use that sight is that sight window is really short compared to other bows that actually use sights. So that's my bow. And then finally, last but certainly not least, we come to the arrows. I've actually used a couple of different arrows. The first arrows I ever got were Carbon Express somethings. The day that my bow came in the mail, we're like, go shoot, go shoot, go shoot, go shoot. So we hurried out to Dick's, actually no, it was Sports Authority. We hurried out to Sports Authority and bought the only arrows they had, which we looked at, they said they were suitable for 55 to 70 pound bows. We're like, we've only got 30, so they'll be fine. Oh, research. Research, research, research. I think that is one of the biggest words you should know when you're starting out archery is research. I actually don't have those arrows anymore. I gave them to a friend of mine's dad who just got a compound bow. I think he's got it set at 60 pounds. So he'll like those arrows. These are an arrow I picked up from Dick's Sporting Goods. I think they're only available at Dick's Sporting Goods. I did some research online. Couldn't find them there. They are the Easton Carbon Raiders. They have 4-inch vanes, which I have actually come to prefer to the little 1.5 to 2-inch maybe vanes that the Carbon Expresses had on them. But yeah, they've been fantastic arrows, and I've really enjoyed using and shooting them. So that's my equipment. Basic, easy to use, fun to use. Hopefully you found that helpful. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Hopefully you'll come back for my next videos, because I do want to continue to share my experiences. And even if no one comes to watch them, I will continue to share them. If you wish to subscribe, go for it. Leave some comments, leave some feedback, leave some questions, concerns. Anyway, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Hopefully you got something useful out of it, and I'll talk to you later.